All right, today we're diving into a company called Autolus, and they've cooked up a therapy that isn't just treating some really tough diseases, it might actually be curing them by, get this, reprogramming a patient's own body. It's a wild story, so let's jump right in.
So let me start with a big question, one that kind of flips things on its head. What if the most powerful medicine you could ever take wasn't something you swallow, but was actually already inside you, just waiting to be activated?
Well, that is the whole idea behind something called T-cell therapy. You see, scientists can actually take your own immune cells, your T-cells, and reprogram them in a lab. They turn them into these super specialized cancer-fighting assassins, and then they put them right back into your body to hunt down and take out the disease. And listen, this isn't science fiction anymore. Autolus has made this a reality. They've launched a therapy called AUCATZYL, and it's for a type of adult leukemia where, frankly, patients often have run out of other options. This is a real breakthrough. Okay, so having a new drug is one thing, but the real test is how it actually does out in the real world, outside of a perfect clinical trial. So let's look at the proof, because its first year on the market has been, well, pretty incredible. The numbers? Yeah, they speak for themselves. In its very first year, AUCATZYL brought in over $74 million. Now, that's not just the big number, it's a huge vote of confidence. It tells you that doctors and hospitals are really embracing this thing. And that trust is spreading fast. By the end of 2025, they had 67 treatment centers up and running all across the US. I mean, just look at this map. They have scaled up so quickly, getting this therapy to patients who really need it. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. Sales are great for the company, but for patients, for their families, for their doctors, does it actually work? And is it safe when you're not in the super controlled environment of a trial?
And the answer here is just fascinating. So what you're seeing is a comparison of side effects between real-world patients and the original trial. And check this out. A common side effect, cytokine release syndrome, or CRS, is actually lower in the real world. Even better, the rate of a severe neurological side effect called ICANS is less than half of what they saw in the trial.
So just stop and think about that for a second. The therapy isn't just as good as they hoped, it's turning out to be even safer. Honestly, that almost never happens with new drugs. It's a fantastic sign, maybe showing that doctors are getting really good at using it and maybe even treating patients earlier to get these amazing outcomes. But, believe it or not, the story doesn't stop with leukemia. Not even close. This is where the strategy from Autolus gets really exciting. They call it a pipeline in a product. So, what on earth is a pipeline in a product? Well, it just means that their core technology, this special T-cell they call B-cell, isn't just a one-trick pony. It's more like a master key. It's a flexible platform they think they can aim at a whole bunch of different diseases. And they are absolutely going for it. They're already running trials for kids with leukemia, but also for autoimmune diseases like lupus, a related and really serious kidney condition called lupus nephritis, and even progressive multiple sclerosis. I mean, we are talking about a massive leap here, way beyond cancer. Okay, let's look at some of the early data, starting with the kids. This chart is called a swimmer plot. Each one of those green lines is a child, and the length shows how long they've been in remission. Just look at how many of those lines just keep on going. It's a sign of a really powerful, lasting response. And when you look at the raw numbers from that trial, they are just mind-blowing. An overall response rate over 95%. And almost 91% of these very sick kids went into complete remission. These are the kinds of numbers that can change everything for pediatric leukemia. All right, now let's switch over to autoimmune disease. Here's another swimmer plot, this time from the lupus trial. And again, you see those green bars showing patients responding. And even though it's early, 83% of patients achieved remission. It's a powerful hint that this therapy is truly resetting the immune system in a profound way. Now, this is all incredibly ambitious stuff, which brings up a very practical, very important question. Do they have the money to actually pull all this off? Do they have the fuel to get to the finish line? Let's do a quick financial health check. You see strong revenue coming in, for sure, but you also see an operating loss, and that's totally expected. They're investing a ton of money into all this new research. But the number that really tells the story is the one at the bottom. And that number is over $300 million in cash. So the short answer is yes, absolutely. They have a very long financial runway that they expect will fund all of these incredible plans deep into 2027.
Okay, so the science is looking great, the money's in the bank, so what's next? Let's take a peek at the road ahead and see what milestones we should all be watching for.
Here's the timeline you'll want to keep an eye on. By the end of this year, 2026, we should see the first data from the lupus and MS trials. Then 2027 is a monster year, with the critical results from the pediatric leukemia study. And after that, in 2028, we'll see the data for lupus nephritis. It's a roadmap just packed with one potential game changer after another.
So you've got this one core technology showing incredible promise across completely different diseases, from cancer to autoimmune disorders. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the actual limit for a technology that can teach our own bodies how to heal themselves?